do this.
Let's go. World of Matchups is back. A couple of weeks ago, we broke down our top 5 quarterbacks for the 2024 National Football League draft. And today we are doing the top 5 wide receiver prospects. Dexter Reed, Las Vegas, Nevada. On the other side, my A1 from day one, producer and co-founder of World of Matchups. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Spencer the Wiz. What's going on, bro?
It's just NFL draft season. It's so fun. The NFL is the best sport in the world, man. It's not even comparable.
It's not
From
even close.
the best off season, it's the best sport out there. I mean, draft season is like basketball's pretty good. I love the basketball draft too. But in basketball, it's like 10 guys. You know what I mean? In football, it's all the way down where you're just scouting until the last round. It's so exciting, man. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's the best, man. And I've been doing my recon and draft analysis, and I'm here to tell you, like literally, this could go down as one of the top 3 wide receiver draft classes in the history of the National Football League. Like there's literally 15 to 20 guys right now that could all pop at any given time, depending on where they land. So, without further ado, we're going to let you spin on who. Let's start from 5 to 1. You want to do that? How do you want to do it?
I have to do it just the way I did my graphics from 1 to 5. So,
Okay, so let's go.
but
Let's go. Obviously, the number one for both of us. Obviously, we both know it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. All right, I will let you break down your thoughts on him, and then I'll roll.
unbelievable. I mean, this is a rarity. First of all, I mean, to think about the pressure that a son has when having like like literally a legendary father, one of the best wide receivers to ever lace them up. Like I give him credit for that alone because you just don't rarely see it. I think Ken Griffey Jr. is probably like a good example. You just look back at all of the greats, and it's not to say that their sons have been bad. Like you can go to like Scottie Pippen's son, like he plays in the NBA. I'm just like thinking of these like general athletes, and their sons just usually don't make it.
Marcus Jordan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like not terrible, right? Like they had talent on the basketball court, but this guy is like the clear number one, and that's crazy to say because the guy here we're gonna talk about next is incredible and would be number one in most draft classes when it comes to the wide receiver position. But the short burst off the line is just amazing. Now he's not like the strongest person ever, but I think those are kind of overrated because if you have a good offensive mind, you can use this guy's short burst and give him good routes. He's going to have a dominant rookie season. I project. I won't say it doesn't really matter where he goes, but I would have a hard time believing he's not going to have 1,000 yards in his rookie season, which is truly amazing. Amazing catch radius, great route running, amazing burst. I mean, these are just like, you're just checking the boxes here, like things that you're always like, there's usually one thing missing, but I don't see a huge thing here other than like maybe he won't like beat the strongest cornerback ever, but that's just not the NFL these days, man. It's about route running, it's about burst, and he's got it all.
1,000%. I couldn't agree more. In a passing league, Marvin Harrison Jr. right now is probably the highly most touted wide receiver coming out of college into the NFL since Randy Moss. He's got the entire package. Okay, great burst off the line, great vision, rarely drops balls, hands are fantastic, and can go over the middle. He's got some underrated hops too, man. He's got some bunnies, bro. Like 50-50 balls are his. He's running past guys. This is the whole package for me. This is where it gets tricky because you have to land this guy in a place where he's got a quarterback, or else you're going to waste him. So I think he's going to go to Arizona. I don't think the Bears are going to not take Caleb. I think the Bears are going to fall into the same trap that the Carolina Panthers fell into last year, where the whole world told them they had to take Bryce Young, and they took Bryce Young. I think the whole world is telling the Bears they have to take Caleb Williams, and they're taking Caleb Williams. I kind of have been flip-flopping, which is not something I normally do. I said 2 weeks ago that they have to take Caleb, but my goodness, man. How do you pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. here? I mean, the guy, I can't see him not having 1,000 yards either. I just can't see it, man. The only thing that worries me about this kid is that he's living in the shadows of his dad. I heard somebody say the other day that he could be better than his dad. I'm like, dude, you have to really pump the brakes here, man. you casuals and you millennials that have just been watching football like the last 4, 5, 6 seasons don't really understand what Marvin Harrison was on the Indianapolis Colts. Him, Edgerrin James, and Peyton Manning are literally one of the top 5 big 3s in NFL history. So slow your roll. But yes, I do understand what you guys are saying about this kid. He's the total package. And I don't understand how you pass on him if you already have a quarterback. I mean, think about this for a second, Spencer. Marvin Harrison on one side, DJ Moore on the other, Cole Kmet coming from any point of any slot on the field, Roschon Johnson, or hey, Josh Jacobs, or hey, Saquon Barkley, Justin Fields in the middle. That is a scary offense for anybody to have to deal with. And their defense has gotten better. I don't know, man. I said it last week. You have to take Caleb. I've been saying it after flip-flopping about it, but boy, when I watched Marvin Harrison's, mixtape this week on several different outlets, I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing sometimes. I mean, he's a man amongst boys. I mean, his burst off the ball at his size is insane. And when he caught the ball, it wasn't like another DB around him for like 10, 15 yards. Now, will this translate into the National Football League? It should. It should.
It's interesting. When I think of the Bears situation, yes, like that wide receiver tandem's great, but we're also talking about one of the deepest wide receiver classes like ever. So they take Caleb Williams and they go to number 8. There's going to be a guy there that they could fill in for Caleb and also still have DJ Moore. So it's not like it's this guy and then the major drop off, like the second rounders. There's going to be someone there that could easily fill in that role as a number 2. Like Marvin Harrison and the guy we're going to talk about next are number 1s, but there are like multiple number 2 guys, like T. Higgins level guys, I believe, at 3, 4, and 5, and one of them obviously is going to be there at that number 8 spot.
I agree, man. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to find another quarterback in the top 8, 9 than it will be to find another Marvin Harrison. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying Drake May will be there. I'm not saying Michael Penix Jr. will be there, but Bo Nix will be there. You know what I mean? J.J. McCarthy will be there. I don't know, man. I wouldn't want Ryan Poles' job. I wouldn't want to be the GM of the Chicago Bears right now because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because every decision you make surrounding this number 1 pick, it's literally pushing all your chips into the middle of the table. You're going all in. You're not leaving. You're taking your rings off. You're taking off your watch. You're pulling your gold teeth out. You're putting it in the middle of the table. And you're saying, well, what do you got? This is what I've got. And if it hits, he won't pay for another meal in Chicago for the rest of his life. But if it misses, I mean, if Marvin Harrison Jr. turns out to be Randy Moss, I wouldn't want to have to make this decision, but we are both in high agreement here, man. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a thing to watch. I do end up thinking at the end of the day, it's going to be him and Kyler Murray.
Which I think is great.
At State Farm Stadium. I mean, Kyler Murray can get you the ball. You saw what he did with DeAndre. You know what I mean? They're good. They need a field stretcher. They need a go-to. They need an alpha. You know what I mean? Zach Ertz is gone. You know, that other guy's probably going to be off the team too. I mean, they don't have much, man. You know, they do have the generational talent at tight end. So now you can get kind of a big 3 going there. I think it makes sense that Arizona takes him. I think they're salivating over him, and I think they're hoping that Chicago doesn't get like happy feet here and flip-flop at the last second, kind of like Kevin Costner at draft day. Next, number 2. I mean, it's got to be Malik Nabers, no?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna say something right now that's gonna have you guys kind of vexed, but I don't see Malik Nabers being much worse than Marvin Harrison. Quite frankly, I'm going to even say this. I could flip a coin. I'm going to give Marvin Harrison Jr. the height advantage because the 50-50 balls are not really what Malik Nabers does. But Malik Nabers has got better speed, and I think he's got better catch radius as well. I don't think it is as far off as people think, man. And if, let's say, for instance, Chicago already had their number one quarterback, I don't see this as being a slam dunk for Marvin Harrison, quite frankly. I mean, I looked at Malik Neighbors' mixtape, man. My goodness. This guy was doing whatever he wanted versus fantastic competition. See, here's the deal. The competition level that you're playing at LSU and the competition level that you're playing at Ohio State, this is the best in the country. And the guy was doing whatever he wanted. I mean, he was making a guy like Jaden Daniels, who we don't love. Neither one of us love him. They were making him look like Dan Marino. Malik Neighbors, to me, is a slam dunk. For me, the landing spot worries me because you have a team early on like the Los Angeles Chargers that just needs so much. And Harbaugh is a running team. And I could see a world, honestly, where you dummy GMs blow this and all of a sudden Malik Neighbors goes to the Bears at 9. So now you've got Caleb and Malik Neighbors. It kind of reminds me of what team was it that really won the draft? Was it the Lions, where we were just like, that team won the draft? The Bears are set up to do the same thing here. I like Neighbors a lot. If I'm LA, I'm taking Neighbors, or I'm taking Alt, depending on which way they want to go. They've got a lot that they need to do, but Malik Neighbors, wherever he goes, if he has a quarterback that can get him the ball, is going to be an electric dominating force in this league for the next 10 years. The guy can do whatever he wants, and I think he'll be able to do a lot of the same things versus quality NFL DBs that you're seeing him do in college. And I like his attitude. I like his mindset. He's a good kid. He's not causing a whole ton of problems. And to top this off, he did this with a top 5 wide receiver in college football next to him on the same field. That, to me, is what is really equally as incredible. Your thoughts on Neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, I think the counter argument is that he did play opposite of a really good wide receiver, so a little bit of pressure is taken off of him. But look, I'm not going to deny this guy's talent. I mean, straight line speed anywhere, and not just running straight forward. I mean, the guy has unbelievable athleticism and speed. I saw some comps to Odell Beckham, and I could see that, but he does struggle a little bit off the line. I think in the best case scenario, he's playing opposite of a very talented wide receiver. I think plugging him and playing him at like your absolute number one as you would Marvin Harrison, it makes me a little bit nervous, at least in year one. Jumping up and getting the ball. I think he like contorting his body a little bit, finding the ball. He struggles sometimes with that, but if you can get him in the right space, like imagine like if you played with Sean McVay, you know what I mean? Like just something like that. I know that's not going to happen, but I'm like, if you can get him with the right offensive mind,
he needs a Robin. If he's
I agree with
Batman,
you there.
He needs a Robin. He's not like Marvin Harrison Jr., who's going to go out there and set the world on fire by himself. There's going to have to be a team that, like if Keenan Allen's on his way out and now you bring in Malik Neighbors, dude, he's going to eat. He's going to eat. You know what I mean? If the Bears get him, DJ Moore on one side, Malik Neighbors on the other, even a team that's got a strong tight end, you know what I mean? Malik Neighbors. But if you just put Malik Neighbors on the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, see, I agree. That's what I'm talking about. I just don't think it would be what you want it to be because all the attention would be on him. And I just don't think his release packages warrant, being able to do that. And again, like you said, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be Justin Jefferson on the other side. No. Just someone talented enough where this guy can get a little bit of space.
Dude, Malik Neighbors and Nico Collins. I mean, it's
easily.
It just has to be a guy who is kind of already there, who does have some talent. Because despite what I feel about him being the 1B to Marvin Harrison's 1A, you cannot deny that Brian Thomas Jr. played on the other side of the field with this guy. And Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get talked about in our top 5 wide receiver prospects. At least he is for me. I don't know if he is for you. So that's like the only real drawback I have here with Neighbors. But I think he is the cream. Him and MHJ are the cream. They are number 1 and number 2, or 1A and 1B of this draft class. I think it doesn't significantly drop off, but I cannot see a wide receiver starved team pass on this guy for any reason at all. You give this guy to Justin Herbert, LA's now back in the hunt. If LA goes and gets Saquon Barkley, that trio right there with an aging Keenan Allen, maybe they find a way to get Bowers later. Now you're cooking with gas, dude. You cannot pass on this guy, and it'll be really interesting to see where he ends up. Where do you think he's going?
Let's see. I'll tell you right now. Like looking at the draft, I think there's going to be so many trades in the top 10.
I
but
mean,
I
the
don't
Bears
think the Chargers blink at number 5 if he's there. I really don't
think so either. I can't see him getting past the Chargers. I mean, would the Giants take him? The Giants are now talking about taking a quarterback because they realize how bad Danny Dimes is. You know, he's not falling past 7.
I don't think the Titans blink either. I mean,
I don't think the Titans
it's going to be interesting
either.
to see where this guy goes, man.
I mean, the
Falcons. I mean, you can just go down the list, and I'm telling you.
I mean, Will Levis and Malik Neighbors. You know, that other guy they drafted really hasn't set the world on fire. I forget his name. Everyone thought he was going to be great in Tennessee, but he hasn't been. And the Giants just drafted Jalen Hyatt. Do they need a burner? They need so much. I think the Chargers are fools if they don't take Malik Neighbors because he's not going to go past 7. He could fall.
And he would be so good on the Chargers, too.
Imagine Chicago taking Caleb Williams and then finding their way into Malik Neighbors. I would be sick. I'd be absolutely sick. That would be worse than people letting, what's the name, fall to the Eagles last year. The Eagles won the draft clearly going away last year. I think it could be the same thing here with the Chicago Bears. I really, really do. Number 3.
Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty straightforward, right? Rome.
This is a slam dunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to start off on this one because I have an interesting perspective on this, I guess. I think people are getting a little overhyped about like the whole combine thing. I do not let the combine really shape my opinion on anybody. I love watching the combine. It's because these guys are like not fighting for their lives necessarily, but like it's huge. You know what I mean? Especially for these guys outside of the top 10. This is how you shift up and down a little bit, you know, and it's worth millions of dollars to them. So obviously it's important. And it's cool to see him go all out and do this. And that was kind of the whole thing with Rome, is that he like stayed after and kept doing the drill. And I think that's good, right? I'm not going to knock the guy for that, but I'm not going to let a guy's work ethic during the draft shape my opinion. Like he's a pretty clear number 3. He's a tier below in my opinion,
but not far.
Great with his frame. I mean, just like his catch radius is unbelievable, which is impressive. He just uses every like inch of his body when it comes to the wide receiver position. Technically sound. This guy has gotten to where he is off hard work and technicalities. Now, the only thing is he doesn't necessarily have like raw athleticism like Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison. Doesn't have the big time burst, but you know, he kind of makes up for it in everything else. But that does make you a little bit worried that he's not necessarily an extremely explosive athlete. He's really a placement guy, being where he needs to be at the right time and always getting that catch. Those are valuable things in the NFL. But yeah, in terms of athleticism, there's a big difference between him at 3 and then the 1 and 2 spots.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I, too, have been saying this forever, man. The combine is overrated. It's
for
cool
sure
to watch because especially if your team hasn't done anything in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl, you're at this point starving for NFL content. You know what I mean? So you want to see guys throw it up. But I mean, there have been so many combine warriors that have like fizzled down the NFL. I can't even count. I mean, Dontari Poe was a perfect example, throwing it up on the bench, and then he had like a very mid career with Kansas City. I mean, I'm not about that. And to me personally, I think it was a bit much with Rome staying out there trying to do the clone drill till he got it done. Like, I get it, and I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to show these GMs that you are willing to do whatever it takes for perfection. Dude, you don't really have to try this hard. You're Rome Odunze. Your name is wreaking havoc throughout college football. You know, I mean, outside of the championship game, you guys were perfect. Now, I do think he does take that next tier down from Neighbors and Harrison, but not by much, man. Rome is a chain mover. I mean, I watched this guy play live. He ate Oregon alive in the Pac-12 championship. This guy can get open. He can get open. And if you can get off the ball in the NFL and you have speed in the NFL and you have decent hands, you're going to play for a while as long as you don't get hurt. Well, no one's asking you to be a 50-50 ball guy. You know what I mean? No one's asking you to be a T. Higgins. No one's asking you to do that. The key for Rome here, again, and I know it sounds cliche because it's true for all these guys, where does he go? Where does he go? And I'm talking to you about this right now, and I, in my soul, am feeling like Rome or Malik Neighbors is going to find their way to the Chicago Bears. And I'm going to be pissed. I can see it happening. I can see these dummies. I can see New England taking Jaden Daniels. I can see Arizona taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I can see the Chargers doing something dumb, taking Bowers. They may take Alt. You got to protect Justin. You have to protect Justin Herbert, man. You have to. You cannot have a $50 million guy out there and not protect him. So I can see that. Their line needs help. The Giants are the Giants. The Giants will do something dumb and take like J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix.
Yeah, right. I could totally
that's totally what they do. So now you just have to get past Tennessee, who could probably take Neighbors. Atlanta, do they really need another receiver? Atlanta needs defense. Boom. Here we are. Rome Odunze, Chicago Bears. Tell me why it can't happen. Now I'm starting to see why maybe the Bears are just going to stick with Caleb because they feel like we're going to get a decent receiver. It's not going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., but we don't need Marvin Harrison Jr. We already got DJ Moore. We need Robin for Batman. And so I'm seeing him probably go to Chicago if these other dummies don't get it right. I think the key to the first 5 picks in the National Football League draft this year is going to be what the Chargers do at 5. Because if the Chargers screw this up at 5, man, guys who are not supposed to fall are going to fall. And they're going to fall to good teams. If Caleb pans out and Chicago gets either Odunze or Neighbors, they're going to the playoffs. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, for his NFL comp, I don't know if you see this at all, but for some reason when I watch it reminds me a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes.
Not necessarily the most athletic person ever, but
all he
in
does
every
is
other
move
position
the chains.
Yeah.
That's all he does is move the chains. He doesn't do anything special. He's not jumping in the air and stealing the ball from anybody. He's not outrunning anybody. But my Lord, the guy just gets open. He just gets open. And Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown is a perfect comp. Neither one of them are unbelievably electric at all, but they are solid. And you just need solid to get to a Super Bowl behind a decent defense. And so for that reason, man, I see Rome going to Chicago. He needs to go someplace, again, where there is some comparable talent on his other side. And him and DJ Moore would set the world on fire. I really like him a lot. Like I said, I watched him live. He gets open. If you can get off the line and get open in the National Football League, man, you're going to have my eye. And he's not the biggest guy either. But if you can't hit him, it's like Tyreek Hill, man. The only reason Tyreek gets hurt is because he runs so freaking fast and gets sprained ankles from cutting all the time. Ain't nobody tackling that guy. Now, I'm not saying Rome is like that, but he's kind of like that. He doesn't take huge hits. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to go high in the draft. Next.
Yeah, we're gonna stay. We're not very far. Like LSU is just so talented, man. Brian Thomas Jr.
My goodness,
okay,
dude.
I have some very interesting things to say about him. I have a comp that probably light the world on fire.
Mari Cooper.
No, it's worse than that, but it's not. He reminds me of a better version of Robbie Anderson. This guy will get behind you and you will never see it coming. He's not the most technically talented receiver in this year's draft. He's at number 4 because he's one of the most athletic players
in
this year's draft. It's potential. He's not the greatest route runner, but man, he is just like, I'm telling you, you'll blink and then suddenly the guy's 20 yards behind you. So that's why he's so high up here. It's got to be the right one. Like he's got to be somewhere where there's a good offensive mind who can like scheme up good routes for him to run, because it's not going to be those traditional routes where he carves you up, but you get him the ball in space and he'll take it to the house. I think he has a lot of potential. He's the biggest, I think, hit or miss pick in this year's draft because it's hard to tell. Him and Neighbors were like perfect complements to each other, and they had a good quarterback, obviously, and it was the right situation for both of those guys, for all three of those guys, you can say, at LSU. So I'm curious to know like where he goes, because if he goes to Carolina, I'm just not liking that. It just doesn't feel like the right. I just, for example, Carolina. I know they lost their first round pick, but
right.
Yeah, like if he went to the Jets, that would be pretty good, But
That's
I think that
thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
If the Broncos clean house and then they were to take him, I don't know. I don't know what the Broncos are gonna do, but there's just a few situations where I don't think it works out for him.
Yeah, he is the one wide receiver out of the top 5 that I think could fall. I think he could
easily.
Fall. I think he could fall because number one, he's a bully wide receiver. He's a beast. He's young. He's 6'4". I mean, and he doesn't really have bunnies. He's not jumping in over anybody. He's bullying his way to the end zone. He does have freakishly athletic speed to him that you wouldn't expect. But when you consider that a lot of the times people were focusing on Neighbors, he's getting open probably more than he should have if it was just him being the alpha. That being said, I like him to the Jets at 10. The Jets need a lot of help. They do. I mean, their offense isn't far away. I could also see the Jets taking a tight end as well. You know what I mean? They just released their starting tight end. They're in trouble because they don't have a quarterback. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, but how long is this going to last? You know what I mean? A 40-something-year-old quarterbacks, they don't last forever. You need to start thinking about your future. Him paired with Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, now you're cooking with gas because you've got your Robin to your Batman, and he's boy. I see like Amari Cooper in him faster. I see DK Metcalf in him better,
DK is a pretty good comp. I like that one. I don't think he's technically as sound as Amari Cooper.
If like Amari Cooper and DK Metcalf had a baby, it'd be Brian Thomas Jr. And I think a good team for him to go to where he could, not have to produce so much right away because Garrett Wilson is the alpha and he's going to see all the balls. And Aaron Rodgers and him have a nice connection. They're going to want to make that happen. They're going to run the ball a lot too in New York because Breece Hall's an absolute monster. That might be a good spot for him. Look, unless you're Kansas City, you need 1A and 1B wide receivers in this league. And if you don't have it, you're not going far. I mean, the Lions just missed it. You know what I mean? They got it.
Yeah, because one of their wide receivers, like their bees, just couldn't catch the ball.
Josh Reynolds just couldn't do it. If Josh
replace that with Romo Dunze or something,
one of those catches, they go to the Super Bowl. You see what I mean?
Imagine any of these guys on this list replacing Josh Reynolds. They're in the Super Bowl.
Amon-Ra St. Brown and Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Brian Thomas Jr. Dude, it's not out of the realm of possibility that one of these guys goes to a team that will put them over the edge like that. But I like him going to the Jets. That's my comp for him. He doesn't set the world on fire for me, but he's too good and too freakishly athletic to leave out of the top 5 when you look at the other 10, 11 guys that I probably would draft if I was a GM in the top 32. Next.
Yeah, we're pretty much in agreement. Down the road here.
This is where I wasn't sure you were at.
I definitely lean more McConkey here than Troy Franklin. Look, Lad is Hunter Renfrow. When I watch him, it's just no way. Technically, short-term burst, elite route running. He'll get open.
He's better. He's better than Hunter
Renfrow in his prime. Like Hunter Renfrow in his prime.
Hunter Renfrow is the most wasted athlete in the National Football League.
Well, he just never got better. I mean, that's his biggest
problem.
He
just never sees the ball.
He used to, though. I think
he just never sees the ball. If you put Hunter Renfrow on the same team as Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you put Hunter Renfrow with Garrett Wilson, if you put Hunter Renfrow with Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice, Hunter Renfrow is an absolute dog. They just don't use him. Shame on the Raiders, bro. Shame on the Raiders. But
Oh,
I
he's always hurt
digress.
now, man.
I think that Lad McConkey, after looking at him and Franklin side by side, I'm a Duck fan. I like Franklin. I've seen Franklin play live. Franklin to me is not as technical as Lad McConkey. And if I had to choose,
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna go
huge
ahead.
difference.
I'm gonna go ahead and just say Lad McConkey is my number 5. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I like Franklin. Franklin would be my 6. He needs to put on more weight. He doesn't block downfield as well. He is not as shifty. Lad McConkey, you guys, I want you to do this. I want you to go watch Lad McConkey's highlights on YouTube. Any one of them. There's a couple different ones out there. You're gonna at first be like, well, what's the big deal? Like he's like a white guy who kind of runs good routes, catches, and that's about it. But like it's like a
That
microwave as you watch it. As you watch it, all of a sudden you're like, hoo-hoo! You know, like,
well, that small white guy who runs route won Tom Brady multiple Super Bowls
bro.
with Wes Welker.
My comp to Lad McConkey is a taller Julian Edelman. If
Right.
Easy Ed McCaffrey and Julian Edelman had a baby, it would be Lad McConkey. And I'm telling you right now, I would love this guy on the Kansas City Chiefs. Love. He doesn't do anything especially great. He just does everything well. And the thing I love about him the most is he doesn't drop any passes. The ball is his. If it's in the air, he's not a 50-50. He's not going to out athleticize anybody, but he's like a better version of Juju Smith, a white, good Juju Smith Schuster. He gets the ball, and his shiftiness is unbelievable. He can stop on a dime. He can leave DBs in space and run past them. A lot of his touchdowns were yak touchdowns. And you just don't see that from a guy. Look, you don't see that from a white guy in the NFL. You just don't. And I think he could be like the great white hope. I love this kid. I hope he ends up on my team. I mean, the Chiefs have like a Justin Watson. You know what I mean? Lad McConkey will wipe the floor with Justin Watson. He is clearly better. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about Lad McConkey. You know, a lot of people talking about Adonai Mitchell. There's a lot of Troy Franklin. There's a lot of other guys. There's another. Spencer and I could do this for another 7 or 8 guys with ease. And a lot of these guys are getting more. They're getting more comp. They're getting more hype than McConkey. I don't know why. I really don't know why.
I think it's just because he didn't have as much. Like he had a back injury last year, so I just has less tape. I think that's probably a big reason why. But yeah, I know for a fact McConkey is going to get open in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like that, you can just see it.
Absolutely.
It just translates. So I think that's just a very safe pick. When I draft a guy and I feel confident, like 95% confident that I know this guy in the
He's
slot
getting
position is
open.
going to get open.
He's getting open. And the thing about McConkey I really like too is you can line him up all over the field. Where do you want to put him? McConkey will line up at any point, slot, outside, and he is a chess piece, which some guys can't do that. And I know for a fact here that Lad McConkey is going to fall. I'm calling it right
If he goes
now.
to the 49ers or something like that,
Lad
that'd
McConkey
be a
is
great
gonna
place for
fall
him.
because there's a lot of teams out there. While this is a loaded wide receiver class that don't really need wide receivers. I mean, let's go from 8 down. Does Atlanta really need Lad McConkey? I don't think so. Okay, Chicago is probably going to get a Dunze or Neighbors or Thomas. Thomas will probably go to the Jets. Justin Jefferson and Lad McConkey, okay, but right now they don't have a quarterback. They're more worried about how much money they're going to have to pay Kirk Cousins and how bad that raping is going to be. Let's be honest. Denver, they got Jerry Judy, they got Cortland Sutton.
They got to figure out their quarterback
They got
situation for
quarterback
anything.
problems. Vegas ain't taking Lad McConkey. Vegas is taking a quarterback. We know this. New Orleans, and I'm going to
Maybe
say this, and
because
like
they're releasing Michael Thomas.
and I'm going to say this with a lot of confidence, and a lot of you might not agree with me. And this is not like me being racist or making a race thing. I think that he may fall because he's a white dude. Because you just don't see too many great white receivers in the National Football League, and people just may not be sold on him. Lad McConkey will be the product of going to the right team, and I'm telling you right now who that team is, man. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. It is the Kansas City Chiefs. All he will have to do is get open for Mahomes. 10 yards here, 8 yards there, be a little shifty, break one here. Rashee Rice on the other side, Travis Kelce, there's no pressure on you. I mean, we all know he's not going to take the top off of defense. Okay, he's not going to take the top off of defense. But do they really need that in Kansas City? Resign Mecole Hardman. There's your top. There's your burner. Mecole Hardman has proven he can win you a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And if I don't see the Chiefs taking a left tackle or being dumb enough to take a really small guy like Xavier Worthy and be gassed just by the combine speed, which they could, I wouldn't be that upset about that. The problem I don't have with Xavier Worthy is that, dude, he's 175 pounds soaking wet. I have 50 pounds on Xavier Worthy. I have 50 pounds on him. You know what I mean? And I'm not fat. I'm only 6'1" 3/4, but like that's a lot. I've seen Xavier Worthy take some big hits, man. And this is the NFL now. Those hits aren't going to get smaller. I don't like guys who are just speed guys. Dexter McCluster was a speed guy. I've had enough.
You can go down the list.
Dude, Sky Moore.
Jacoby Ford.
I'm tired. I am tired of small speed guys. I think Ladd McConkey is a slept-on gem, and it would be, to me, an absolute felony if he falls out of the first round.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it
felony.
Happening.
It can.
I could even see the Ravens taking him, or the Bills if Gabe Davis leaves. Like those kinds of teams.
The Bills. I like.
They haven't had a guy like that ever, man. I mean, they just do not have a technical wide receiver.
The Bills. Well, they had the dude from who came from Dallas, the dude with the long hair and the red hair. I forget what his name was, but they had him for a minute, and they moved the chains. I mean, McConkey's not. I mean, guys, he's not going to do anything that's going to set the world on fire. But what he's going to do is he's going to get open, and he's going to get you first downs. And sometimes, man, that's just enough. That's enough. When you absolutely have a first down, look at your team. Do you have a guy that you could say, I can get the first down? I've got one in Kelce. I'm getting a first down with Travis Kelce. How many teams can say they've got that? You know, now Kelce's getting a little long in the tooth. You have to start thinking about replacing that kind of production, give Rice some help. I mean, to me, it's almost mind-blowing what the Kansas City Chiefs have this year and won the Super Bowl. And last year, my goodness, it's an absolute disgrace that the league let this happen because they have okay talent and they have Mahomes. If you give them insanely good talent, you give Malik Neighbors to Kansas City, good Lord, dude. Write that three-peat down. Mahomes could throw 50 touchdowns with that guy again. You see what I mean? Even with a different kind of offense, the way they've changed and completely in season changed their whole identity. So I think McConkey going to Kansas City is the comp that I really like. I mean, Green Bay, they don't need receivers. Tampa, they just signed Mike Evans. They still got Godwin. Houston's one to watch out for. But here's the deal also with these great receivers. Someone is going to take them just so the Chiefs don't have them.
For sure.
You know what I mean? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, I could see like someone moves up and is like, we're going to do this, but we're going to do this so you can do that. Like, that's how much the people do not want to see Kansas City winning anymore. They're not going to help the Chiefs. But the thing with this draft class, Spencer, is that there is so much talent that by the time you get to 32, the Chiefs are still getting a great player. Adonai Mitchell, McConkey, Xavier Worthy. I'll take any of those guys. Those guys are all great. Those guys are all top 15 wideouts in the National Football League coming in this year. So what do? You know what I mean? It's a wide receiver heavy class, and I feel bad for you guys that need running backs because you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay now. You think you're going to win with Jonathan Stewart at running back? You're mistaken. You're mistaken, dude. You're going to have to pay Saquon. You're going to have to pay just Josh Jacobs. You're going to have to pay these guys. You're going to have to pay freaking Derrick Henry. They're going to want their check too. But if you need wideouts and you need quarterbacks, this is your draft. 3 of the top 6 quarterbacks are hitting, and I say 5 of the top 10 wideouts. They're all hitting. When I say hit, I'm talking 10 touchdowns. And by the time they're in their third year and 1,000 yards, MHJ is that now. I think so is Neighbors. I think they're that now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with you there.
Who's your
Yeah,
sleeper?
I think McConkey in a weird way is a sleeper. I don't see many people have him at number 5. I think that people see him slipping past this like in the second round, and there's no way. I think that once you get, I think that the combine has muddied the water a little bit and shaped people. I ignore it, man. I don't look at numbers.
Combine is overrated. It's overrated.
Playing on the
man.
field is all that matters. And if I'm watching these guys play in the field, it's Ladd McConkey at number 5.
Yeah, I mean, can you throw it up on the bench 30-something times? Yes, but can you play football? You know what I mean? Can you do the cone drill? Yes, but can you play football? Now I
It's
know
just like Kevin Durant in the lifting thing when he was there, like, oh, you can't bench. And Kevin Durant was like, who cares?
Who cares? Can you ball? Now I know some of these practice drills are trained to get the metrics of can you play ball, but I care more about what you do on the field than what you do at the combine. The combine to me has proved to be overrated multiple times. I just can't get behind the combine at all. It's cool, but if that's how I'm going after drafting people, I would even say this: you're going to miss as much as you hit. You're going to miss as much as you hit. I've got a guy that I'm in love with, and I don't know why I am in love with this guy. I shouldn't be based off some of the stuff that I've already said, but I absolutely love Malachi Corley. Oh my God, Spencer, I'm in love with this guy. If Deebo Samuel and Steven Smith had a baby, they would name it Malachi Corley. They would name it.
I was going to say, I think he'd be great on the 49ers. I think he'd be great.
My God, dude. This kid's only drawback for me is the talent that he faced. That's it. Is the talent that he faced. Because when you're playing on WKU, you're facing bums from Middle Tennessee State, and you're not. The competition is nobody when you're Malachi Corley. Speed, hands. He can get the ball out of the backfield if you want him to. I believe he has returned punts. Don't hold me to that, but I believe he has. And he brings it to you. So many of these guys, the Troy Franklins, they don't want to get hit.
No.
Malachi Corley is a really small Rashee Rice. When he catches the ball, he's looking to go to the end zone, but he'll go through you. He has more broken tackles than anyone his size I've ever seen. He reminds me of Steve Smith. And I don't care what anyone says, man. And this to me is factual information. To be a really good player in the National Football League, not a good player, not an average player, to be a really good player, to be in the top 15% of the National Football League, you have to be a dog. And if you
I think he'd be great on the Ravens.
Yes. And if you don't know what that means, you don't know football. You have to have some dog in you. And I'm telling you, Malachi Corley has that dog in him. Go look at this guy's highlights, you guys. I'm telling you, he has no competition on the field. He's the best player on the field in every game he played this year. And yes, the competition he played against was, not that great, but he always brought it every single game. So it's like, with decent coaching in the right system and a good quarterback, he doesn't even have to have a great quarterback because he's catching screens, out routes, digs. He's not going long, but he can too. And he's got really sneaky speed to him. The only thing he doesn't do is jump over guys, but at 5'11", no one's asking you to be T. Higgins. We're asking you to be Malachi Corley. And I think someone is going to find this guy in round 2 or round 3, and they're going to get a steal. They're going to get a steal. And I think people are going to sleep on this guy because of who he played against. And I am telling you, my friends, it is a mistake. It is a mistake. Is he first-round talent? No, there are just so many other guys with more height, with more savvy, with more route-running ability, but they don't have the dog in them that Malachi Corley has. I'm telling you guys, I very, very rarely this amped up about a college player ever. I'm not a college football guy. I'm an NFL guy. And I have a heart for the dog. I have a heart for the small guy that no one says they can't. I've said this on the show before, and I will continue to say it. If I could have myself be one wide receiver in a National Football League ever to never win a ring, it's Steve Smith. It's Steve Smith Sr. That man brought the dog to the NFL. That man is the dog. And Steve Smith Sr. loves Malachi Corley. So I'm like, dude, start watching this kid, dude. He's just beasting everybody. And he's little, but he can catch. He's got a good football mind, and he's hungry, man. Converted running back, I believe. He's hungry. He's got some Isaiah Pacheco to him. He's got some Debo to him. He's got some Steve Smith to him. Like, literally, like, he's daring you to tackle him. Look at the man's broken tackles. Go look at his mixtape, guys. I am telling you, do not sleep on Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley to the Ravens, second, third round. I'm telling you, he to a bruiser-type team, a team that's like doesn't have any moxie to him. Boom, you bring this kid in and watch what happens. And you put him on a team that's already some bullies. Malachi Corley on the Ravens is sick.
I can see the Browns too.
Get the Browns, one of those AFC North teams. One of those bully teams. Pittsburgh don't need him. The Browns or the Ravens, good Lord. Man, let me stop before I have a coronary. I got a thing for Malachi Corley, man. Dude, I'd take him on my team any day. I'd take him on my team. The Chiefs might be able to get him. He's going to fall, man.
Yeah, he is.
There's too many wide receivers. And there's too many teams that need other positions. He's going to fall. But I'm telling you, pin this. Remember this video, guys. 2, 3, 4 years from now, when Malachi Corley is blowing the doors off the NFL because no one wants to tackle this bowling ball coming at you, I'm telling you, it's kind of like Debo. I watched Matador defense against Debo all year long. Nobody wants to tackle that house on fire when they come at him. It's the same thing. Go look at what Debo did to the Eagles after he trash talked them. If you can get a guy like that can get the ball out of the backfield as well. I mean, there's not too many guys, Spencer, in the league that we could probably just off the top of our heads throw out that not a position style guy where you have to just put the ball in his hands. Just get the ball in his hands.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with him. He's not gonna. He's not really gonna do it himself. But if you can draw up a play and get it to him, and he's gonna do something with it.
You put the ball in his hands, something is gonna happen every single time. I think that guy is Malachi Corley. So that's my 5 and my sleeper. I don't really see McConkey as being a sleeper, but I get where you're coming from because we both know he's gonna fall. People they're gonna like a lot of other guys besides McConkey. I mean, when you look right now at the top 10 list of guys who are going to get drafted at the wide receiver position, McConkey might not even be top 10. He might not even be top 10. I mean, I like him. I like him, but I think he's going to fall.
The back injury is going to make him fall.
It's going to make him fall for sure. World of Matches, bringing the heat, man. Ooh, you got me fired up over here, Spencer. I'm ready for this draft, dude.
It's going to be so good.
So ready for this draft. Oh, my God. A couple weeks from now, we'll probably put together our first mock draft.
Yeah.
We'll do that probably in 2 weeks for you guys. You know, we're taking a week on, a week off right now because, you know, there's really not much going on. And it does take us a while to get the comps and get the information in because we both got lives, jobs, and wives. But, yeah, this is kind of what it is. These are our top 5. Let us know who your top 5 are. Are we crazy for liking McConkey the way we do? What do you think the Bears are going to do? Am I out of my mind about Malachi Corley? Guys, hit us. Let us know what you're thinking about this because I'm telling you right now, if you're anything like us, you understand that football is 24/7, 365. There is no offseason in World of Matchups. Okay, real ones know. The only people not focusing on this right now are people doing like fantasy baseball and hockey, and like I'm doing those too. I'm doing those too. But the NFL reigns supreme. There is no better sport. There never has been. There never will be. And if you're not excited about this, dude, go check your pulse, man. You know what I mean? You get a Red Bull in you and turn some football on. I don't care. Even if it's like your team stinks, you should be excited about your future because it is built on the bones of what is happening right now at the NFL draft. Like, I'm excited for Spencer. I'm excited for my buddy Corey and Dave, those Bears fans. I'm excited because I remember what it was like for me. I remember when I was like, damn, well, so we're good now. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you live for. I don't care what anybody says. All a man really wants is a sandwich, some head, and at the end of the day, to watch his team win a freaking Super Bowl. Period. Am I wrong?
It would solve world peace, man. I mean,
dude,
that's
that's
about all you need in life. I'd die happy afterwards.
I'd die happy too, man.
Yeah.
I could die now and die happy. Parting shots. What do you got?
Yeah, man. As it gets closer to the draft, it's just, man, like there's so much offensive talent. There's gonna be guys who slip in this draft just naturally because you're just gonna like there's gonna be team needs at wide receiver position, and that's just gonna make defensive guys falls. This is also one of the most talented offensive line drafts like I've ever seen. There's like 5 or 6 offensive linemen that could very well be taken in the first round.
First round.
This doesn't happen all too often. Not like that. Yeah, not like that. Like top end talent, not like guys who fall in the 18 and 19s. Like there's like probably 15. 4 or 5 top 15 offensive linemen.
Joe Alt, man. I like Joe Alt to go to
I think there's so many safe picks at
the
offensive line
position. Skoronski, and now you protecting Will Levis. Dude, I really like that too. I agree. Boy, there's so much talent. This is why guys like this are going to fall. Guys with so much talent are going to fall. This is a special draft. It's a special draft. I agree. My parting shot is this. Look, man, if you got kids who are obviously into football and they're going to want to actually do this and be serious about it from Pop Warner all the way through high school and college, don't make them running backs.
I think that's what you're seeing. We're not even talking about running backs.
Make them running backs. My friends, the state of the National Football League has changed. And if you are tearing it up at D1, D2, and you're really serious about playing football on a National Football League level, all you're going to be doing is putting yourself in harm's way for not a lot of money. The fact that guys like Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs aren't franchise tendered is absolutely criminal. Derrick Henry is still good at 30 years old. This guy could win somebody a Super Bowl. You put Derrick Henry on Baltimore or Dallas, even Austin Eckler in a very down year. PFF is only saying he's going to get a $4.5 million contract. That's insane for a guy that touches the ball 20 to 30 times. And unless your name is Christian McCaffrey, that's the only way you're getting paid. Kyron Williams is making no money. I mean, they're a really good running back.
That guy was unbelievable, man.
It was unreal.
He won me a fantasy league basically by himself, it felt like at times.
Guys like Dalvin Cook on the street. I mean, it's insane. Joe Mixon waived any day now. Guys, put your kids in quarterback school. Put them in quarterback camp. Put them in wide receiver camps. This is where the money is. The most disrespected sport right now, position in any sport in the history of sports right now, is the running back in the National Football League. And I'm not here for it, man. I don't love to see it. It makes me sad. It makes me really sad because these guys deserve more, man. Raheem Mostert rushed for 4 billion touchdowns. He'll probably get released. I mean, you are literally a pawn on the chessboard. And that's why, like, when guys like Priest Holmes were begging for their money and Larry Johnson were begging for their money, I mean, look at Jamal Charles. Like, these guys, like, I will always be a supporter of you getting your money because the NFL is going to chew you up. They're going to spit you out. You're going to get concussed. You know what I mean? CTE is real.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be painful for you to wake up when you're older, man. Straight up.
And then no one's going to care about you. And no one's going to care about you. Whereas if you are playing behind a great offensive line in today's NFL, they're going to protect you better than Joe Biden. Patrick Mahomes, protection. You know what I mean? Josh Allen.
Yeah, he'll be playing until he's 40.
Patrick Mahomes could play as long as freaking Tom Brady played.
Easily.
They are going to protect you. Wide receivers, if you're a bigger, stronger kid, parents, put your kid in wide receiver camp. He can survive a hit, put him in wide receiver camp. Justin Jefferson's going to make $500 trillion from the Minnesota Vikings. Why would you want to be a running back? I don't understand it. Why? The days of the great running backs, they're over. Roger Craig, Larry Zonk, it's done. Guys, do not do this to yourselves.
Running back by committee for every team in the NFL.
That's it. Do not do it to your kids. Do not do it to yourself. Even a guy like Isaiah Pacheco, who was a playoff churning running back, I would be shocked if the Chiefs give him another contract.
Yeah,
Why?
he's not going to get diddly squat in his next contract.
Because you can find another Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round and you not have to pay this guy. You literally, as a running back nowadays, you have 4 years with your team, unless you're CMC. If Saquon Barkley can't get the franchise tag on a long-term deal, nobody is. And that's all I've got to say about that. Pour one out for the running backs, folks. World of Matches bringing the heat as always. Dexter Reed, Las Vegas, Nevada. Spencer the Wiz on the other side. Enjoy the show. Do some recon. Tell us what you're thinking. Figure out what you want to do as a fan of your team and sit in front of the TV with a beer and a burger and enjoy what is coming in the NFL 24 draft. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll do our 1 through 32 mock draft.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's what we're going to do for you guys in 2 weeks, and we hope you guys are enjoying the off season. And good luck to your teams, because I'm telling you, man, Kansas City Chiefs are retooling, and then we're not going to be hard. We're not going to be easy to beat at all. You guys blew it by losing to us this year. That's it. World of Matches is gone. You guys enjoy the day. Peace.